Okay, so for those of you asking about Mario minifigures, as well as why this set is a question mark block when it doesn't actually exist in the Super Mario 64 games, I have some answers for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Emily, and today's video is going to be a little bit more casual. I'm just going to be going over everything that was discussed in the designer interview surrounding the brand new LEGO Super Mario question mark block, which I have here. Obviously, I already built it, so I developed a bunch of questions on my own, but I also reached out on Instagram and posted on my Instagram story there asking if you had any questions, which I know feels a little bit early, right? Like the set's not released yet. But thank you so much to everyone who did ask a question there. I really do appreciate it. And it was kind of cool just like hearing your thoughts on the set in that format as well. Which, by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram yet, make sure to go do that. I put the link down in the description below. So if you've been following my channel, you will have seen that I did a designer interview for the Fender Stratocaster. It's actually the set right there, earlier this month, and that was essentially a 1-hour live stream on my channel. The interview for this set here was totally different. It was hosted as a private Zoom call between me, the LEGO designers, as well as 4 other LEGO ambassadors. The others on the call were Brickonaut, Tiago Caterino, Beyond the Brick, and Zusammengebaut. Each of us had 10 minutes to ask the designers some questions, and luckily I got to go first, so I asked all of my questions right off the bat, and I got a bunch of really good answers for you guys. And then the other LEGO ambassadors also asked some really good questions, so I'll try to just summarize what was said. Something to note is that I can't actually show you the video or play the audio for you, but I can recap, I can paraphrase, and also quote from what was said during the Zoom call. And during this video, please assume that everything I say is paraphrased and not a direct quote. If it is a direct quote, I will like put it on the screen and let you know, but a lot of this will be paraphrased just to save time. It was a 1-hour call, so I'm not going to go over every little detail. And one more thing before we get into this is that if you're new to this channel or you're just a long-time lurker, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I really do appreciate it. We are so close to 20K, so that's really exciting. Anyways, let's dive in. So there were 3 different LEGO designers on the call with us today. There was Benjamin, who is the senior digital play designer, Carl, who is more involved in the concept phase of the question mark block, and then Anthony, the lead graphic designer. So I'm just gonna start kind of going through the questions and answers for you. I asked the designers if there were any other set ideas before the question mark block was decided. They said that there were a ton of options. They were talking to Nintendo pretty regularly, but they looked at different anniversaries coming up for Super Mario and decided on Super Mario 64 since this year is the 25th anniversary of the game. So then on to the biggest challenges of this set were really just to get the cube to open up and maximize space, since like the opening mechanism, it's definitely weird. They were able to fit a lot into the set. There's 3 different Mario levels plus Peach's castle, so there's just like a lot going on here and it's very compact. And they tried a bunch of different ways to like actually get the block to open up, but decided on the flip up method just because it really just it maximized how much they could fit inside it. Next, I asked them why they included those 3 levels, so Cool Mountain, Bob-omb Battlefield, and then Lethal Lava Land. And then a follow-up question to that, was there one almost created, then decided against? So their answer to this was that those 3 levels were the most recognizable. A lot of others looked very similar to Bob-omb Battlefield or were flat like the desert level, so it wasn't as exciting to see it as a display. They just really wanted to have diverse worlds to look at, which I can totally understand. So as you can see, like Cool Mountain is like not flat. Bob-omb Battlefield still has a little hill there, and having a flatter level would be pretty boring to look at. So the next question I had for them involved the NES and the question mark block Easter eggs. I wanted to know if there were others that they were trying to include and how did they settle upon these. And also, like, I feel like that's not super common with LEGO sets to include little hidden things. So was that something Nintendo brought to the table? Was that LEGO? Like, how did that originate? And their answer to this was that they wanted to include loads of other Easter eggs but limited it due to space. Spoiler real quick, guys. Spoiler, if you don't want to know what the little secret is in this set, then like please click away to, I'll put a timestamp somewhere. There is the Bowser boss battle included in this set with Bowser, as well as 8 red coins as part of the build. Basically just 8 red dots that are included in the build process. And they're not able to tell us what other Easter eggs they were planning on doing in this set, but they said that they had a bunch planned and they just had to limit it to the space. Next, I was really curious about their relationship between LEGO and Nintendo, since both companies are very similar. Like, they care a lot about their IP, they care about the gaming process and just quality of products in general. And so to answer this question, they said that working with Nintendo was a lot of fun. The people at Nintendo love LEGO, and they got really excited when showing concepts and preliminary products along the way. So while I was building the block, I noticed this little tile that Mario could scan, and I was really curious about this because it's like, what is this supposed to do? I got this set early, so I couldn't update the app. There was no update to even update to. So I had no idea what that scanner actually does, and the app is still not updated. At least while I'm filming this, it's still not updated. So I haven't been able to interact with that on my own, but I did ask them what that does. So again, if you like don't want a spoiler on this, skip ahead to this timestamp here. Essentially, I asked them, what does the action print do when Mario scans it? They told us that the app would be updating soon. I can't really say when yet, but soon. And in general, they said that they were very proud of how the print actually looks. It's actually found inside Peach's castle here. It's this little tile right here. And once the app is updated and you take your Mario or Luigi and scan that code, they don't have a specific name for it yet, but the designers basically just called it Super Mario 64 mode. There are 10 power stars in and around the model. And then in the building instructions, there's little hints. They're not instructions, they said, they're hints. And each of them is a reference to the original game. The game is full of secrets and they wanted something similar to that. They're not very straightforward, but at least some of them are based on colors. And during this part of the interview, the designers were very excited about this part. Like, they really lit up a lot, so that was just really cool to see. It got me very hyped for whenever the app does release to just like take Mario and scan it and just see what it does. They made it sound very tricky to actually find all of the stars in the set, so we'll see how I do. Okay, this next question is a question that so many people had, and it's a very valid question. So why did they choose a question mark block if it doesn't exist in Super Mario 64? The idea is that it would be a question mark block with a Mario world inside of it. With this one, it is a question mark block with a surprise that it is a Super Mario 64 world. And once we had the Super Mario 64, of course we discussed if it should be an exclamation mark, but the point of the question mark block is that it always contains something surprising inside, so when you're also displaying it on your shelf, no one can guess what's inside. And also, as an extra thing that we felt fit the theme of it and the contents of the experience, is that there are so many hidden mysteries and so on, so the question mark block fit. You know, as we all saw, the question mark block, it really doesn't make any sense. Like, this isn't present in Super Mario 64. And that's what most people had to say about the set, was like, why is this a Super Mario 64 set? Like, in the comments, I got a bunch of that. On Instagram, that was a lot of people's questions. So I'm glad that we got an answer. And like, for me personally, I feel like an exclamation block wouldn't have been as cool. Like, this one, it's like a mystery. And I almost feel like it's more of a mystery to other people rather than the person who's building it. Like, when you purchase a set, you know that it's a Super Mario 64 set. But, you know, if like you went to someone's house and they had this sitting on the shelf, you'd be like, oh, what's this? Like, what's inside? That's kind of neat. And then you would discover that it's Super Mario 64. And so the fact that they kind of started this whole concept as a question mark block and then decided what would go in it based on the 25th anniversary of Super Mario 64, I actually liked that answer, and I feel like that does make quite a bit more sense than before. So one of the other questions to the designers was whether that little scan code in Peach's castle would be like a one-player thing or a two-player thing, especially with the recent release of Luigi. And they said it would be single player, but Mario or Luigi can scan it. So another question for the designers was how many renditions until you got the mystery block working as it is in the final product? They said that they have a room practically floor to ceiling with different versions of it. They at one point attempted to make the feature on the bottom, so you'd do something like punch it, I guess, and then something would happen. It would reveal Super Mario 64, but they decided against that because it's less practical. And then something kind of cool that I had never really thought about was that to get the rubber bands to function correctly and test them before the release, they used a climate chamber with different humidity levels, temperatures, etc. to be sure that Peach's castle would always be able to lift upwards depending on different climates. I just never thought about like climate testing your Lego sets, but I guess that makes sense. So the next question for them was how did a set like this or the NES, aka not the play sets from Lego Super Mario, come to be? And the designers said that essentially they wanted a set that would appeal to our age groups, so like 20s plus / like anyone who grew up with Mario. The Lego Super Mario sets are something anyone at any age can enjoy, but these are marketed towards more of an adult audience. Okay, so for this next one, I have to put on my tinfoil hat. Okay, Conspirasaurus time. The set has 2,064 pieces. Was this on purpose? No, and the brick separator is a piece, so it's really only 2,063 pieces. It was not on purpose. Some people were like, 64 or 2064, like equations. No, it wasn't on purpose. Conspirasaurus. There's 64 inverted tiles on top of the block, so it's 8 by 8. Is this on purpose for Super Mario 64? No, it's not, but it's kind of a fun coincidence. I'm sorry, I had to. Okay, so finally, the question you've been waiting for is about minifigures. One of the other LAN members asked this question, and so in quotes, he asked, a lot of people have been wanting Super Mario minifigures for the longest time. So why no minifigures in this set, and will we ever see a Super Mario minifigure? Right off the bat, the designers responded that for the last part of the question about seeing a Super Mario minifigure in the future, they can't really answer that because it's about future products and future future releases and they're not going to reveal it through us. So we don't know about whether it's going to happen in the future. But as for minifigures in general and why there's no minifigures in this set, here's a direct quote from the designers. From the very beginning of this Mario project, the spirit was to come together and make something new for both Mario and LEGO. So that's where we got our LEGO Super Mario digital creature. I like that they said digital creature. And then also all of our crazy brick-built characters. And so this sort of combination has allowed us to bring all kinds of new and exciting types of builds. All of our smaller built characters, the microfigure characters like the little Mario printed on the tile in the NES, and you know, it has allowed us to do all kinds of stuff we wouldn't have done before. And so my personal takeaway from that, and I'm just thinking out loud here, I'm just giving you my thoughts on what happened in the interview. It really seems to me that Nintendo and LEGO both kind of agreed that they wanted something brand new, and I feel like if minifigures were a possibility, they would have been done by now. And the fact that they're trying to just do something completely new and like a new innovative way to play, it just leaves me very doubtful that minifigures are ever going to happen. I'm glad that they gave us an answer at least. They didn't just say like, we're not going to talk about that, which they could have done. And like, as cool as I think Mario is, or even like Yoshi here, I think they are adorable. I just feel like Mario minifigures would go so far for LEGO fans. So yeah, anyways, those were the main takeaways from the interview this morning, and it was actually a really great experience. It was my first roundtable, so I was definitely a little bit nervous. I had a bunch of questions from y'all, so that was really helpful. And I am really glad that we got a lot of these questions answered. It was cool just getting more insight into this set because it is weird. Like, this is a really weird set. We didn't see this coming. It's totally different than anyone expected. Not to say I don't like the set, it just was not what I expected to see. And so before we wrap this up, I am really curious, like, please comment down below, tell me what you thought of this interview, about the discussion, what I've talked about here. I would love to chat with you guys about this more in the comments down below. So anyways, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and do consider subscribing down below. I do really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.